Hi Journeyers, I'm Tony Carnes, the publisher and editor of A Journey Through NYC Religions Television, and also your host for Journey TV. Around 2009, 2010, I was curious about all of the new religious activity I saw going on around the city. And I was wondering if it was really going on all over, or was it just where I happened to see. I was also curious why my colleagues in the news media were not covering this very much, and why scholars seemed to be missing it. And I thought, well, maybe that means I should do something about it. And in July 10th, 2010, 15 years ago, with some friends, supporters, well-wishers, and a lot of prayer, I would say, we launched A Journey Through NYC Religion. Our goal was to go down every street. There's about 5,300 miles of street in New York City. Go down every street, every alleyway, every hallway we could get into, and document every religious site along the way, with photos, with stories, with mapping. So far, since then, over 15 years, we've been to 15,000 sites. It's just amazing. We did a lot of stories along the way. We did 1,740 articles. We published 510 photos, and we have tens of thousands in our archives. And we published 374 videos. We were having so much fun, and I guess the word got out that PBS television decided they would cover us and to see what we're doing. So they came alongside of us while we were going down Eldridge Street, which we call one of our God's rows, to see what we're doing. So let's take a look at this early snapshot of A Journey Through NYC Religions.
Faith isn't often the first thing that comes to mind when people are talking about New York City, but there may be more religious practice going on there than many realize. A group called A Journey Through NYC Religions is trying to search out and visit every house of worship in the city, thousands of them. Kim Lawton reports.
New York has been called the most secular city in America. But don't tell that to Tony Carnes. He's made it his mission to systematically document all the religious sites in New York's 5 boroughs. On this weekend, we followed along as they focused on the historic neighborhood around Eldridge Street on Manhattan's Lower East Side.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the...
Saber que tu lucha
is also God's struggle.
es también la lucha de Dios.
Tony Carnes is here.
El doctor Tony Carnes
He's
está aquí.
the jolly fellow with the camera looking right at
Él
me.
es
So we're happy they're here,
contentos de que están aquí.
and they're visiting houses of worship.
Ellos están visitando hoy día muchas casas
Some
de
synagogues,
adoración,
some mosques, some
sinagogas y más,
churches,
muchas iglesias.
and just getting that for the nation to see.
Y para haciendo un programa en PBS para las naciones que lo vean.
He has made it one of his projects
Él ha hecho uno de sus
to
proyectos
document the vitality of faith in New York.
documentar la vitalidad de la fe en Nueva York.
You know, but often what people think is that people in New York don't go to church.
Pero usualmente la gente piensa que los neoyorquinos no van a la iglesia,
That we are either a-religious or
que
anti-religious.
somos antirreligiosos o arreligiosos.
And I'm so glad Tony Carnes is documenting another
Y
reality.
yo estoy tan contento que este hombre de Dios está testificando una realidad diferente.
Well, you can right away see it's pretty interesting. Also, right away we discovered the city had changed. And we did a series called The Making of the Post-Secular City in 2010. And that series, it was 12 pieces in a series, won the highest award for religion news journalism in the United States. And largely that's because of the great people we ran into, and the subject matter was so interesting. We also discovered there were 75 more mosques than people thought there were. People said there were 99 mosques in the city, but we found pretty quickly there were 175 mosques. And since then we've discovered, another 125. Every trip that we made was full of surprises. And sometimes we would go to a place that looked like it was closed down, it was shuttered, it was, an empty building. And as we got closer, we discovered it was a religious site. Let me give you an example of this that I ran into out in eastern Queens. I heard them singing. Behind closed doors and heavy curtains, a strong melodic voice harmonized with others.
One more river to cross, to cross.
I asked the church founder, Dr. Maple Fritz, what is going on? She said, a church business meeting. I like the business meetings at this church, the Ultimate Power Revival Center in St. Albans, Queens. Well, that was pretty interesting. And furthermore, that group was so interested that we were interested in them, they decided to launch a music group and go out to other churches to perform. Wow. But sometimes we would also go in another place and it would be a surprise, and then inside it would be so magnificent. You'd say, outside it's pretty plain, but inside, wow, it's embroidered, white gloves, carved wood, polished wood. We ran across this case. I'll take you with me as we go into a Haitian church in Jamaican Queens, right around Easter time. And of course, we had a lot of holiday celebrations along the way. There are a lot of religious holidays. Every religion, of course, has holidays. And we were able to join several of those celebrations. One of our young reporters, Tiffany Owens, joined the Ismaili Muslims as they prepared to do their celebration, one of their big celebrations for the year. Let's go and see her as she films this celebration, its preparations, and the people that were doing them.
This is the sound of about 200 Shiite Muslims who have gathered in a small hall off Springfield Road in Queens, New York, on the evening of May 30th. While most Americans are celebrating Memorial Day, these American Muslims have gathered to remember one of their own. Most of them are not from America. They come from India, Pakistan, and the Middle East, and say that freedom of religion is one of the things they value most about American life. It is freedom of religion that allows them to gather here on Monday night, where they remember the life and death of Sayyidina Qutb and Shahid.
You know, on Sunday mornings, when Sunday mornings came, we were filled with maybe a little anxiety, but also excitement. Some Sunday mornings we would run across as many as 36 churches and other religious sites. We discovered that in certain parts of the city there are what we call God's rows. There are a lot of religious groups lined up one after another. One such God's row is Ralph Avenue. There was churches, a funeral home, a daycare center, a religious Christian daycare center, 16 of them all within 2 blocks. And on either side, of the streets, next to Ralph Avenue, there were another 20 religious sites. We decided to go spend one morning just going to every religious service on Ralph Avenue. Pauline Dolly, one of our young reporters, did decide she would document and do a video on the music and how it differed in each church. Let's listen to her wonderful, The Music of God's Row, Ralph Avenue.
On any Sunday, streams of song and shouts of praise pour out of open church doors all up and down Ralph Avenue in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, baptizing the sidewalk with early morning music. These songs powerfully proclaim to the outside street, this is who we are, this is what we stand for. They also refresh those gathered inside the church and remind them of the strength their faith provides them. Some of these streams of music, like here at Cornerstone International Fellowship, are rousing, get you on your feet, get your blood flowing kind of songs. Walking in through these doors is like cannonballing into a rushing river. Others are like water going over a water wheel, steady, metered, deliberate. They are no less joyful, delighting in the communal work of the church. At Original Seed Tabernacle, a French Creole church on Ralph Avenue, one can hardly keep from tapping their toes as they listen. Others, like at Mount Zion Baptist Church, are like swan diving into a deep pool and floating in its depths.
Another God's Row was Bedford Avenue, which is the longest street in Brooklyn. We took a whole busload of students from Columbia Journalism School, and strung them out along this very long street and did stories at every single religious site. Two of our reporters and one photographer stopped at Charity Cathedral. Charity Cathedral has since sold its building and has moved, but take a look at this. You'll see both how it operated, how our reporters operate, and how it could be so exciting and moving at the same time.
The windows of heaven is open. The fire is falling tonight. I got joy, joy, joy in my soul. If you got joy in your soul, I say everything right. Well, I gave him my whole filthy garment. And he gave me a robe of pure white. I'll be in your bed of heaven. That is why I'm happy tonight. Oh, that is why I'm happy. That is why I'm happy. That is why I'm happy tonight. I got joy in my soul. That Jesus made everything right. Well, I gave him my own garment, and he gave me a robe of pure white. I'm feeling the manna from heaven. That is why I'm happy tonight.
Some of the places that we went to were very high culture. You know, tux, white gloves, great music, very classical music. One of these high culture places was the performance of Handel's Messiah at Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem. It was an all-black presentation, but more than that, it was not less than that, but certainly added to that. It was an incredible performance. Let's listen to a few minutes of Handel's Messiah produced by Abyssinian Baptist Church. Other places we ran into took sort of low culture, but then elevating it by making it part of church culture. One such place was a Methodist church near Morris Park, Bronx. There they took the steel drum bands, the steel drums that you find in popular Caribbean music, and created a whole music and choir around steel drums at this Methodist church. We were so persuaded that they were so great, we decided to devote most of our personnel to covering events at this church, just to document this very unique style for a Methodist church in the Bronx.
Steel pan music enlivens a Sunday morning at the Westchester United Methodist Church in the Bronx. Comprised of youth aged 16 to 20, the Shining Stars Steel Pan Orchestra is a happy mediator in the multi-generational church. Steel pan drumming originates from Trinidad Carnival celebrations. Once, it would have had no place in the church. But Roy Gomes, the band director, says that the discipline of learning the drums kept him out of trouble while growing up in Antigua. WUMC minister, Reverend Gordon Edwards, is grateful that the Shining Stars make themselves accessible to the service of God. Steel pan connects not just the members of the church, but all who hear the happy music.
If those two things, Handel's Messiah and the steel drums, don't get you going, boy, you need to come along with the journey because there's much more going on. Maybe you need some food along the way. We asked Chef Debbie Young to create a series that feature the food that was produced at all of these religious sites. We called the series Kitchens of Faith.
Welcome to Kitchens of Faith, what New Yorkers of faith are cooking. My name is Debbie Young. Looking for a great autumn soup to make this weekend? Why not make pho? Spelled P-H-O, pronounced pho, a classic Vietnamese noodle soup, topped with meat slices and a rich broth with rice noodles. Today's recipe is shared by Mr. Han Leon, a professional chef and a member of Covenant of Grace Presbyterian Church, a Chinese Presbyterian church in America meeting in Briarwood, Queens. Over the noodles. It's so savory. Thank you, Han, for your pho recipe.
But they also provided an impact on our souls. One reporter came along with us to cover one of our reporters, to find out how being on a journey impacted her life.
New Yorker Melissa Kimiati is part of a project called A Journey Through NYC Religions. Since July 2010, Kimiati has been traveling every street in the city documenting each religious site.
I wasn't really exposed to religious groups, nor was I exposed to religious people. I was not exposed to that until now, until working on this project, and I really had to overcome my own judgments, my own past.
Growing up in a Roman Catholic family with influences of Islam and Christianity in her extended family wasn't easy for Melissa. She says this project has shown her things in her own life.
The strange thing is, I'm a non-Christian, but I've become deeply spiritual while working for a journey.
Brian Finnerty, a friend of mine, who is the communications director for a Catholic group called Opus Dei, said, "Tony, you should make a television show out of all of this." So we decided to experiment and do it, called A Journey Through NYC Religions Television. So we set up our first Saturday, we got the studio reserved, we're walking there, and we get a call that our guest can't make it. This is Saturday morning, about 10 o'clock or so. So we said, "Oh, what are we going to do?" Our very first shot out of the gate, and disaster. So we went into Starbucks and started calling around, and Brian said, "I'll call Lauren Green, who is chief news correspondent, religion correspondent for Fox News, and she lives near here, and I'll find out if she can come and fill in for us." So he calls her, on Saturday morning and says, "We're doing a new program called A Journey Through NYC Religions Television. Would you like to come be part of it?" That was pretty bold, Brian. And she said, "Well, yeah, that would be good. When do you want to do it?" And Brian said, "Well, how about now?" Welcome to Journey TV, a conversation about what most matters about religion in New York City. This city is full of buildings and apartments and condos, but how many of them are homes, real homes, permanent places of love and peace? We have a classic New Yorker here with us today, Lauren Green, who's the chief religion correspondent for the Fox News channel. Lauren, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. God is everywhere around. It's like, and I tell how some people travel the world and never see God at all and look at all the wonderful wonders of the world and never see God. And then one day you can look at a rose petal and then see God in all his glory.
I've tried to show you from the beginning to the most recent of all the adventures and fun and how thankful we are for all the people, all the reporters, all the volunteers, all the editors, all the producers, all the editors of video, our photographers, our board. All of these people came to make a journey through NYC Religious Television. It's something really very special. We hope you enjoy it. We hope it nurtures you and opens your eyes to what's going on around us more here in New York City. And I'm happy you could join us. I'm Tony Carnes, your host for our Journey Through NYC Religious Television. See you next time.